Hi guys, I'm Scarlett and welcome back to Fenwood Reviews. Today I am going to do the long-awaited video I spoke about in my last video, which was the Lady Bird review, which I am doing now. I saw it back in December 7th to be exact, so excuse my throat, I'm on honey and lemon at the minute, I'm a bit ill. Yeah, so I saw it back in December. And so my memory might not be very good at the minute. However, my memory does remember how much of a good film it is. So let's dive into the details. The film is a coming-of-age genre film about a young girl called Lady Bird who is learning how to grow up and thinks that her lifestyle isn't the best and that she needs to achieve much more. And she is in school, she's growing up in a Catholic high school, and she goes through multiple events that you see that help us realise that she's growing up. And in the end, she, through her arguments with her mother, events like losing her virginity, rekindling her friendship with Julie, you find that she has now grown up and accepts the world. The story is written and directed by Greta Gerwig, who, when I met, I could tell instantly that she is the director that we've been waiting and needing this year. This year is the year of the women, Time's Up, Me Too, all of that, and Greta's the only female director to be nominated for an Oscar, which is still not good enough, but I think it's a good step forwards. And if I'm honest, her biggest competition's probably going to be The Shape of Water. I haven't seen it yet, which is not good, so I need to go to the cinema, see that, do a review on it. So yeah, I have high hopes for her, and I'm really rooting because I know compared to the other films that it is one of the top films. You know, it's her first ever debut. There are so many people that have gone for that director's thing, that have been director award, that have done so many other films, and this is her first proper feature film that she has written and directed herself, and I think that's amazing. And for it to be nominated, her first one to be nominated, just shows this woman's got way more to come, and doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve an Oscar. I think, she wrote this for 2 years, so she obviously thought about the story, and it's all her own. Lady Bird represents her as a child, or parts of her, and I think she told it in the most beautiful way. So a few themes that flow through the film are about money and wealth, relationships like mother and daughter, homosexuality, very slightly, but it's very relevant, popularity, childhood. There's so many underlining but very in-depth messages in this story, and you can't miss them, but at the same time they're not poking at you like, hey, this is a message. It makes you think about things, it makes you think about yourself, and it's probably the most relatable film and relatable story I've ever heard. And I don't know who else can relate to Lady Bird or Julie or her parents. Everyone's been in a problem of financial state before, or self-confusion, or even fitting in. No, there's hands down, there's no way no one has ever tried to fit in and be popular, and this film just shouts at everyone, and it can't be hated, it cannot. So I'm going to start with the duo. Saoirse and Beanie were so funny as a best friend duo. So Lady Bird and Julie, obviously been friends the majority of their lives. Lady Bird is ahead of Julie, catching up with popularity, what's a good thing to do to get in with the students. I don't think Julie really cares, but it's not that she doesn't care. Well, she doesn't care about the world around her, and that's what Lady Bird does care about. Julie cares about Lady Bird. You don't realise that until Lady Bird goes back to see Julie after prom, because she knows she hasn't been speaking to her and she ditched her for Kyle and the other popular girls. You realise that even though Lady Bird has been chasing the popular girls, you think that that's it. Yet you have Julie chasing Lady Bird, and I don't think people realise there's always a cycle. People are always trying to impress people, and you may not think that about yourself, but there is someone out there that is looking at what you're doing and taking from it. And I think that's very important, because it really brings back your humanity and makes you realise that people aren't just another body walking around, you know, they have a conscience. They're thinking the same way you are, and you can't hate them for it. If that's what you're doing, then it's a bit hypocritical to hate against it or, you know, judge them for it. And I think that was a very important message, and they were just funny together. I mean, the conversations they had, I'm just struggling to remember now. I so need to rewatch it, but you know, there's best friend duos. Like, it makes me think of like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg when they do their films, but this one was much more special. Saoirse and Laurie. So the mother-daughter relationship was by far the most significant relationship of the film. Well, the film was based around their relationship, and I completely related to it. The way they came in and out of arguments, from complimenting to arguments, it was very polarising, and it doesn't make you realise how much you do that in real life. And I know with my sister I'm very much like them too, but it reminds you how strong a mother-daughter relationship is, and no matter how many times you argue, you're always going to love each other, no matter what the problems. I mean, if you look back at all the conversations they have, her mum brings up finance in probably every single situation, and you can tell that that's her insecurity, and she knows that that's getting in the way of her daughter, and she's trying to push Lady Bird, but in certain directions that Lady Bird might not want to follow. But because of all these issues that she has, that's why they bicker, and because Lady Bird doesn't want to agree with her. And there's not one person that hasn't ever experienced that. And a line that really got to me was when they were shopping for a prom dress in the thrift store, and Lady Bird says, well, what if this is the best version of me? And it really makes you think, like, for a parent, maybe it's not such a nice thing to hear your child say that, because, you know, they're not brought up in the most wealthiest household. The relationship seems not strong because of the arguments. She doesn't have a boyfriend. There's a lot of things that add up, and I'm sure for a parent that's probably upsetting. But for me, watching that in a point of view where I'm Lady Bird, because I'm sure I'm a similar age to her, it made me think about the version of me, and if this was, and if I could improve it. And I think from Lady Bird pushing herself the rest of the film after saying that, it helped me to realise that I can do the same. And if ever at one point I believe there's not any more of me, I need to try harder and need to believe more in myself. And I think everyone needs to take that away from the film. Anyone our age, anyone younger than 19, I think that's probably the best message. And yeah, it just got to me, and it really meant a lot. Tracy's character, the dad, I loved him. He was adorable. He was the dad that, you know, their child always goes to them when they want something or they're bickering with their mother. And it's really weird because he wasn't as significant as Julie, Lady Bird, Marion, Kyle, Danny. He wasn't as significant as them. He was probably as significant as Danny, to be fair. But you really understood his character, and it's surprising because he didn't have as much screen time compared to the other actors, but it really felt like you understood him. So I thought that was fabulous. It's the acting and the directing put together. Like, whenever he was in a room with Lady Bird, you always got that feeling of comfort. And even if there was an issue, even if they were talking about him losing his job and finance, like, you really sympathised with him completely. You understood his position, because him and Marion are trying to look after the household. They were relying on his money, and despite him thinking that he was going to be getting a raise and earning more soon, that just shoots him down. And that's probably a very hard thing for parents, and I know a lot of people that have been and lost their jobs, and I'm sure that they relate to him in the film. This film is like the most relatable film in the world. I'm not even joking. It's insane. I don't know how it hits so many points of different people's lives, whether you're an adult, a child, a friend, a sister. Everyone relates. Everyone. The shots of the film, it's annoying that I can't go back and look at any of them, but one of my favourites was when Lady Bird was house hunting with Julie. There was a shot of them. This is Julie, this is Lady Bird, and they were walking across the street with houses in the background, and every time they walked down the street, the house would change, and it'd be another shot of them walking into the shot and then walking out. A new house, it happened again. And I just thought, you know, you expect that to be quite jarring, but it really fitted in. There was no speech in that scene, there was music, and I thought it was quite quirky, and it was a nice, like, aesthetic transition into the next scene. It really changed the mood, and yeah, you also understood that Lady Bird obviously doesn't really like her life at home, with how she doesn't have much money, they live in a small house, and she doesn't have the life that she's aspiring for. And you can see that because as she goes past all the houses, you get that feeling that, you know, this is what she wants her future to be, this is what she wants her life to be like, and she can't, so all she can do is dream. But not until the end does she realise that dreaming isn't the right thing, and, you know, you don't realise how special your life is until you grow up and really appreciate the things you have and realise what's around you, and stop being so self-involved or involved in other people that are completely irrelevant to your life. The writing, I don't know how Greta has never written a feature before. She might have, but, you know, one with this success and the fact that it's her first proper one, the writing was amazing. Each character had their own tone, and I think honestly if it wasn't for the actors and the casting, the script wouldn't have come to life as well as it should have. I think the casting choice was very well done. Saoirse, I studied her during my A-levels, doing The Lovely Bones. I was aware of Greta doing acting, I'd seen her in Arthur and a few things, but you could tell she was the right part for it. And her accent, pretty good. Couldn't imagine being Irish and doing an American accent. That would be very difficult. But I guess she's been doing it her whole life, hasn't she? So I think what has made me more inspired with this film is the fact that I got to meet Greta and Saoirse. I didn't realise I was meeting Saoirse. It was really weird. I turned up and someone told me that the main actress was going to be doing the Q&A as well. So that really shocked me. And it was quite a nice shock because, as I said, I studied her, so meeting someone you have been studying is pretty weird, not gonna lie. I just wanted to shout that at her and have like a conversation about The Lovely Bones and how weird it was, but let's not go there. Greta was so down to earth, she was lovely. All the questions that were asked, she really took her time answering them, and knew that she knew what she was on about. And I say that because I went to Berlin Film Festival recently, which I have a vlog of, I will do that soon, and there were some people there that ask questions, and some of the directors would just be like, I don't know, can't answer that for you, and really blunt. And even the actors are like, well, this is my first feature for film, so I don't know. Then they pass it back to the director, and director's like, well, that's all I can give you. And I just thought, the fact that your film is at an international festival and you're being so blunt right now, that's not looking good on you, nor is it looking good for the film. So it just makes it look like anything you put in there you didn't really think about. Yeah, with Greta, she was straight to the point, gave us a bit of her background of her making it, and I really, really hope she does a few more in the future, because, you know, this is the start. This is the start of what people need to see. People need to realise that the middle class are very ignored, and they're stuck in middle ground that isn't noticed. And I know I'm British, but for Americans, for British people, I'm sure it's quite similar. I mean, as the spectator I am, I was watching it from a young, wealthier than Lady Bird, happier with my life point of view. So seeing things, I thought, well, sometimes I'm not going to feel the same. However, it's not my story, it's Greta's story and it's Lady Bird's story. And I know that there are problems that need to be brought up more in US society, and I think this film has really made a point of that, and I hope things change after the film. I completely forgot to mention as well, this is a queer film review channel, and I completely missed the queer part of this film. Oh my god. Lady Bird's first boyfriend, she caught him kissing a guy in the stalls, and she was very upset, and it was quite a funny scene. And then they met up after a while, and he cried on her shoulder and said that he was sorry and that he was gay, and he was very guilty about it. And my philosophy, I've always thought, you know, don't show things in films that bring a negative influence. And, you know, for me, I see that as negative because you're showing that they should feel guilty. However, this film is contextual. It's based in 2002, 2003, and no one at that time would have, at his age and being in a Catholic school, would have been confident enough to come out and say, hey, I'm gay and I'm happy with it. His parents would not have accepted that. I don't think anyone or many people would have in his community, and that's why I think it was relevant for the way she showed it. And Lady Bird's response as well was so beautiful. She completely accepted him. She didn't judge him for what he did because she knew that it wasn't a problem based on her and it wasn't any of her business really. It may have broken her heart, but in the end there's nothing she can do about it, and she completely embraced him. They had a hug whilst he cried on her shoulder, and I thought it was really lovely to see, and it's really relevant for the time, and I hope people take that or parents see that, and from understanding the coming of age story from her response, hopefully seeing that our generation don't give a shit anymore. And I thought that was really nice, and I really wanted to ask Greta a question based on that, but you know, she is so important and massive. I literally just felt like anything I said would be stupid, or it wouldn't even come out of my mouth properly. I mean, half the shit that comes out of my mouth isn't even literate anyway. I have to bloody think about it, you can tell. But yeah, there was some good questions. A lot of the people were very smart in the audience, asked much better questions than I would have, so it was a really nice experience. I'd like to make a disclaimer again. I was tipsy when I saw the film, so I found it very, very amusing. So it's probably good that I do see it again and sober, so I can probably remember a bit more than I did last time. I really want to go see it again, and you guys should go see it if you haven't yet. Or if you have, I'd love to hear your opinions on a few of the themes or what your favourite part of the film was. Talk in the comments. Want to hear, guys. So if you like this review, then give me a like and subscribe if you want to see any more. Comment down below if you want any films for me to review. Haven't had any requests yet, so come at me and I'll look at them, and I hope to hear from you guys at some point. So see you later.